But there apparently is some stuff coming out about Thomas Crooks. So let's take a look.
The Trump assassin Thomas Crooks raising serious questions about whether federal agencies missed red flags before last year's shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. The New York.
Is this going to be one of those things where it's like we were watching him or we knew about him or something like that?
Posts Miranda Devine reporting that
I've not heard about the plane crash.
17 social media accounts tied to Crooks, revealing an extensive
Crooks
online footprint.
What the hell's this? What is going on there?
Feds have not openly discussed.
From the New York
Crooks
Post,
allegedly used they, them pronouns on the platform, posted years of violent rhetoric, and flipped from pro-Trump.
Identified as they, them on DeviantArt. Trails of violent extremist posts for years. We had him on a watch list. Shifted from pro-Trump to anti-Trump ahead of the assassination attempt. That whole situation is very weird.
Trump to openly anti-Trump in the months leading up to the attack.
My restream bot's broken.
Telling
Yeah.
Devine if they have investigated that kid, there's a.
If they investigated that kid, there's a record of it, and there's an assessment that some leader made that this was not a threat, or it rose to a level and they did something else. Former FBI agent.
Record of it, and there's an assessment that some leader made that was not a threat, or it rose to a level and they did something else.
Wonder.
New York Post columnist Miranda Devine joins us now. Miranda, welcome to you. Seems that you've got some pretty big findings here.
Fresh scrutiny, you say?
What have your sources revealed to you?
Thanks, Sandra. Well, they've told us that there was actually a very large digital footprint left behind by 20-year-old Thomas Crooks.
A large
who was
digital
Donald
footprint,
Trump's
you
would-be
say?
assassin last year.
Well, that's not surprising, considering he appears to be somebody that would spend a lot of time online, you know? Like, based on just, like, the very little things we know about him.
Butler, Pennsylvania. It's quite a different story to the one that Christopher Wray and his deputy Paula Bate told Congress just in a couple of weeks after that assassination attempt. And we were sort of led to believe that Thomas...
Dude, I remember when this was all coming out, trying to cover it as fast as I could. There was so much stuff coming out so fast. It was so hard to like keep up with everything. And there was like so much different information, conflicting information, and like words that were going against what some other people said.
Crooks was really a ghost, that there was no motive that could be ascertained from his online accounts. And yet a source has provided us with
Can we get a dozen fresh scrutiny on that? Yeah.
From 17 different
I think they're supposed to vote on it. They're
Thomas
supposed to vote on that tomorrow from what I'm hearing. So we'll see.
Crooks had, and they range from, you know, Google Play to
I saw that clip.
site you referenced before called
Haven't had time to make
DeviantArt,
a video
which is
about it, but
probably the biggest or one of the biggest hubs online
Pretty
for
insane.
this sexual fetish called furries, where people dress up or fantasize about animal characters, cartoon characters that are sort of humanized. And so it's very bizarre, but we also saw that with Charlie Kirk's killer, alleged killer Tyler Robinson, who was also involved in this bizarre furry culture.
Also
so
another one that's very weird.
That my source discovered
Another weird one.
On those lines, but there was a little
Howdy,
bit
Luke,
the
what's
fact
up?
That this guy Thomas Crooks was interested in this furry site.
Why is it he was interested in furries? That's so odd. What, like, this is why is this the first time we've heard about this?
Spent a lot of time there, had various images that he liked and reposted, and also gave his...
He reposted pictures of furries.
pronouns as they, them. But I think the more important part is what the comments, his online comments from, he was very young, I mean, 15, 16, 17, show us about how he became increasingly violent and sort of radicalized.
The whole thing is very odd.
Democrats. He was pro-Trump. And then in January of 2020, he flipped 180 degrees. Something happened to make...
Something radicalized him. Something radicalized him. I wonder what it was.
make him become rabidly anti-Trump. And again, his rhetoric took more and more of a violent turn. He started
Yeah.
brushing up against.
I'd say so.
There was a neo-Nazi by the name, fake name probably, William Teppers,
A neo-Nazi?
who started encouraging Crooks in more and more violent rhetoric. And then
Dude, this whole thing is like such a deep rabbit hole. It's like, how do you even unravel this?
suddenly something happened in August of 2020 and he just disappeared online. Very unusual.
Ghislaine
And then,
Maxwell's
of
getting
course,
private meals
in
and special
July of
treatment in a new
2024,
luxury
he fired
prison.
off 8 shots from a rooftop at Donald Trump at that rally in Butler, killing Corey Comparatore, who was sitting behind Donald Trump, and badly injuring 2 other rally goers and hitting Donald Trump in the ear. Only, by a miracle did Donald Trump not get killed that day.
Wow, and he certainly is unsatisfied with the answers. President Trump is that he has been given about the circumstances that led up to that moment, that day. Here is the former FBI Deputy Director Paula Bay on Crooks' social media. This was July 2024. Listen here.
There were over 700 comments posted from this account. Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature.
Yeah, it's weird it's coming out now.
In your revelations, you
anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes? That's so weird. It just feels like this... Man, I just don't know. There's so much weird stuff. This whole thing is so weird, man. Like, I just don't know. It just doesn't make, none of this makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole thing is so weird.
say thanks to this enterprising source who uncovered Crooks' hidden digital footprint that we can see that he was misleading Congress by omission because he left out an entire...
Like, does that mean that he was a groiper or something? Does that mean he was like a groiper? I've only heard recently what that even means, but it's starting to seem like, you know, did this kid listen to Nick Fuentes or something? Is that what he did?
Section of Crooks' online interactions from January to August of 2020, when he did that ideological backflip that you just described and went from rabidly pro-Trump to rabidly anti-Trump and then went dark, never seeming to post again. I mean, I look at the vastness of his online presence: YouTube, Snapchat, Venmo, Zelle, GroupMe, Discord, Google Play.
Yeah, this and the Kirk shooter is very weird. The whole thing's very, it's so weird. I don't get it. Like, I mean, like, they got radicalized and then like, how does he become super anti-immigration and anti-Semitic, but also anti-Trump? Like, I get the anti-immigration part but see, that's the thing. The anti-immigration part, you'd think that he would be pro-Trump because, like, Trump was talking about cracking down on immigration, but the anti-Semitic part doesn't make any sense. Like, where did he post anything anti-Semitic? They didn't give any, like, they didn't cite anything that was anti-Semitic. They didn't say, they just said he was saying anti-Semitic stuff, but they didn't give any examples. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be nice to see some examples. Like, okay, well, if he was saying anti-Semitic stuff, like what was he saying?
Quizlet, chess.com, Quora. I mean, he was everywhere. So what are your sources revealing about what the former FBI director was sharing publicly to Congress
What's up,
in
C.
that
Phillips?
moment?
Apparently
Well,
some
it really
new
is
stuff on the
inexplicable now that we see that evolution of Thomas Crooks
stuff.
Being pro-Trump to anti-Trump.
Las Vegas, what's up, dude?
It's inexplicable that Paula Bate would give only that first part of the trajectory.
Oh yeah, I saw that plane crash in the DRC.
And you know, it just led Congress and led the public.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would like to see examples too. He might have just been trolling people because this is what, like, let's be honest. Thomas Crooks probably didn't have a whole lot of friends. You know what I mean? Like, people that have a healthy friendships, like healthy friendships and relationships with people, don't commit these types of acts. They just don't. If they've got a good home life and a good relationship with friends and they have like friends to hang out with, they don't do stuff like that. That's just pretty plain. It's pretty straightforward. Like, I'm pretty sure we could all probably agree that if somebody's got good relationships with their friends and their family, they're probably not going to commit any crazy stuff like this. So that leads me to believe that he spent a lot of his time online, because like people that don't have a whole lot of friends or don't have a lot of relationships, they spend most of their time online because they're lonely, and this is their way to like reach out to the world without having to go out into it physically. So that makes sense, like that he would be an online internet sleuth. But I haven't seen any examples of what they're talking about. They're just saying, like, they're making claims or saying that he was saying things, but there's no examples.
To think something different about Thomas Crooks than was the reality. I don't understand why Paul Abate would do that, and I think it would be good if Congress could bring him back and ask him why. I think the president and people close to him are understandably frustrated.
What's up, Iowa?
Unsatisfied, and I think the public is unsatisfied.
I appreciate you, brother.
With the answers that we've been getting.
I try to just like say, hey, this is what's happening, or this is what people are reporting, and you can choose to agree with it or not, or you can be like, that's weird, that's a little odd, and then think about it, because you're intelligent, sovereign individuals.
From the FBI, including in the, Donald Trump FBI. We would expect it under Joe Biden, I guess, but there's no reason now why Senator Ron Johnson has had to subpoena.
Not to be confused with Senator Ron Swanson.
The current FBI under Director Kash Patel for more information about Thomas Crooks, about the autopsy, about other forensic evidence and documents, and none of that's been forthcoming. And we see now from the exposure from our source of this online presence that there is a lot of other information that the FBI either chose not to look at or is somehow keeping it under wraps.
Wow. That is a lot. We know you'll continue to report on it, and certainly the American public.
Yeah, it certainly is a lot. I don't know. This thing just keeps getting muddier and muddier.